Welcome. This is the third step of the basic method of meditation. Now, I want to emphasize the importance of what we did in the previous steps, because unfortunately a lot of meditation teachers teach to start meditating by focusing on the breath. And this is the reason why for a lot of people meditation is very difficult and why they quit. It's enormously important to establish mindfulness before moving to the breath. And the reason is that if our mindfulness is not strong enough, we will continuously fight with two of the main obstacles of meditation, which are sleeping in past and future and our inner speech. And this is exactly what we took care of in the previous videos, right? We relaxed our body so it doesn't demand our attention. We stay in the present moment, so we stop regretting about the past or worrying about the future, and we diminished our inner speech by valuing silence more than thinking. So, what does it mean to establish mindfulness? It means to arrive at this beautiful state of mind where we are silent in the present moment. And in this thoughtless awareness, we can observe and appreciate everything around us. And the more important thing is that we don't use our force to stay with the object of our attention, but it's the object of our attention that stay with us effortlessly. And the only reasons are that we are in the only time where everything can happen, the present, that we are quiet, and that we are kind with it. So our job is not to watch the breath or whatever we are watching. Our job is to create the conditions, to create the causes why the object of our attention will stay with us for as long as we want. And this is something I remind myself every day, that I have to remember the causes. And it's like if you want a clean house, there is no other way than creating the causes for a clean house, which are pick up the broom and start cleaning. And in the same way, if you want a peaceful mind, you have to remember the causes for a peaceful mind, which are to be mindful and to be kind. And also remember that the object of our attention is not important. The only thing important is what you put between you and the object of your attention. So what you put between you and your body, between you and the present moment, between you and your thinking, and now between you and the breath. If you put your will or your force, it will continuously try to escape from you. But if you put kindness, it will stay with you as long as you want. And also another thing that I want to clarify is that when I say the body vanishes, time vanishes, thinking vanishes, and as we will see at the end of this video, after a while also the breath will start to vanish too. This is nothing strange or mystic. It is the basic functioning of our mind that is used to notice just things that moves. And it is probably for evolutionary reasons that for our ancestors, things that were moving could represent an opportunity or a danger. And it's the it's the same also for us, like when we are in a room and we hear the humming noise of an air conditioner. After a while we don't hear it anymore, right? Or when we smell something, after a while we get accustomed to it. And is exactly this process of getting accustomed that doesn't stimulate our mind anymore and allow us to go into deeper and deeper stages of meditation. So this was a brief excursion on the why the previous steps was so important, and why it's so important to establish mindfulness, because we have to prepare ourselves in order to watch the breath. We have to create some light, because otherwise everything is dark and we are just throwing darts into the night. So finally, let's move to the breath. Breath meditation is the most famous form of meditation, and this for two main reasons. The first is that, like I explained before, it is a natural process. After everything else is vanished, the breath is the only thing remaining that keeps moving. And the second one is basic psychology, because the experience of breathing is remembered as one of the first sensations we had in life. Because in the abdomen of our mother, these movements of breathing should have been one of the most pervasive and calming feelings we experience. So it's pretty logical that being aware of the breath brings us back to these beautiful feelings of calm and safety. So once we have established enough mindfulness, we can move to the breath. But we don't use our will. We are not looking for the breath. And above all, we don't use our force to watch the breath. Okay? We don't do nothing like, hey, come here, breath. Yesterday you kept coming and going, but now we have to stay here. You have to not move so I can watch you. Okay? Of course, that's not the way. After everything else is vanished, the breath is the only thing that keeps moving. So we are not looking for the breath, but it's the breath that comes to us, just because it's the only thing left. And we just have to welcome it in the same way we did everything else, with mindfulness and kindness, with contentment and gratitude. And please let the breath do whatever it wants. Don't try to control it. Your only job is to not interfere with it. And please don't listen to anyone that says that you have to watch the breath at the tip of your nose or at your belly. Just watch this beautiful experience of breathing. Now, if sometimes we are particularly restless and the breath doesn't come to us, there are some tricks, like when we are enough silent and in the present moment, we can start noticing what our breath is doing. But we don't use our force, we don't force ourselves to watch the breath. We just ask ourselves something like, hey, what's my breath is doing right now? And when we notice that we are breathing in, we think in. And when we notice we are breathing out, we think out. So something like we start with in, out, in, out. So in this way we start noticing what the breath is doing and we are getting closer to the breath. Or my favorite one is to, when we breathe in, we think peace, and when we breathe out, we think let go. So something like peace, let go. Peace, let go. And I really like this one because it is very visual. When you think peace, you can imagine all the peace and the energy that you have created until now coming inside of you. And when you think let go, you can imagine all the things that still worry or upset you flowing out of you. But use this method just like a springboard. And once the breath is closer to you, let go of all the thinking and just watch the marvelous experience of breathing in silence. You can imagine treating the breath like a baby in your arms. You don't use your force to keep a baby, right? But you are so gentle, so kind because you want him to feel safe and protected, and so aware because you are afraid to hurt him. And you can treat the breath in the same way, being so gentle, so kind, taking care of it, breath after breath, moment after moment, without asking nothing back in return. And this is the only secret of meditation. This is the real force. This is the real strength of human beings. You can use it in meditation or in your relationship, it's the same. But this is the energy of compassion that keeps two things together. Not because they want to, but because you are brave enough to take yourself out of the way and you let the light and the warmth that comes from who you really are shine unconditionally on the other. And after a while, the breath starts to calm down and you start to experience these beautiful feelings of peace and joy. And this happiness, this peace is the signal that you are going in the right direction. You can use it like a compass. When you feel even a little bit more at peace, a little bit more kind, a little bit more happy, that's the way to go. So keep going. And as I spoiled before, after a while the breath starts to vanish too. And now you're really seeing the view. But what is surprising is that it's not the view that amazes you, but it's the perception that you are the view, that there is no division, no separation. You are both the view and the observer, and the two are one. And this is where you start to understand the truth about reality. The perception of the boundaries that identify you as you change completely. And this is where compassion really finds its explanation. Why it's so powerful? Why is the concept at the base of all the religions? Because you start to understand that in a way there is not a lot of difference between cutting your arm and cutting a leaf in a tree. Because everything is linked, everything is one. And being unconditionally kind with others is exactly the same as being unconditionally kind with ourselves. But we will explore more the benefits of meditation in the next videos. Please, if you have some questions about meditation, write them in the comments, and maybe if we have enough questions, I can do a Q&A video. So, thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe for more videos about meditation, and I wish you